Hi everyone, it's Elsa. I'm here in Washington, D.C. at Black Lives Matter Plaza on May 25th, 2024. I just needed to be here today. Today, as you know, is George Floyd Day. Remembrance of George Floyd and what happened to him on this day. And I'm kind of surprised that there isn't anything really big going on here. Right now it's Saturday evening, and it's the day that George Floyd passed away. And Black Lives Matter Plaza actually was, as you know, something that was sparked or created because of the protests that resulted from George Floyd's death or murder under the knee of a police officer. That video in particular impacted all of us. I know that it really affected me immensely. It sort of created this racial reckoning across the United States and around the world. I call it a temporary racial reckoning because I feel that we're still in this fight. Yeah, I just sort of needed to be here today, especially on George Floyd Day. I just sort of remember that time in that moment. I remember, my last stop in Washington, D.C. during the pandemic. Before I moved to Wisconsin to finish my PhD, I decided to do that considering the circumstances I was in. And I needed my last stop to be at Black Lives Matter Plaza. And at that time, I think it was designated as Black Lives Matter Plaza. This was in June 2020. And I think maybe June 24th or something like that. I remember I needed to at least have one night out. Because of the pandemic, I didn't get a chance to be out in the streets and finishing up my PhD, the fear of COVID and whatnot. But I really needed to be out here, and I made it to at least one protest. And that evening, after shoving everything in a storage and getting cuts and bruises all over my body, and I just needed to be here. I needed to be here. And I made it out, and there was a great protest. I was really happy to be a part of that. I said my salaam to Mr. Monument, and I participated in the protest. We marched around here, and here in part of downtown DC, taking a knee occasionally to sort of commemorate that moment for George Floyd. And yeah, that was it. It was just incredible to sort of think of that time and where we are right now. I remember when I was coming back to Washington, D.C., I came back, actually I started driving from Wisconsin on September 10th, World Suicide Prevention Day, and arrived, touchdown, 9:30 p.m. or something, or before midnight at least, here in Washington, D.C. It was the 20th anniversary of September 11th, and I remember seeing the lights coming out of the Pentagon at that time, and I needed my first stop back in Washington, D.C. after getting my PhD, finishing my doctorate, to be Black Lives Matter Plaza. Today I just needed to be there to think about that moment and to think about those times. Interesting, because I came back in part to continue my dream of living and working and studying in Washington, D.C., but I also came back because I had some unfinished business and because I wanted to contribute to continuing the revolution. I thought that there was a revolution. I came back and everyone went back to sleep. It was just right at that time, it was still, this plaza was still in construction. Yeah, everybody went back to brunch, enjoying their mimosas. And it's interesting because everybody was saying how we won't have to protest as much anymore because Trump is out of office and we got the Democrats back in office. And yeah, that didn't age very well, did it? They were so wrong, and they were wrong at that time, and they're wrong right now with everything going on. The struggle for Palestine. I'm here with my keffiyeh on, and I brought my painting, which is for Black Lives Matter and Palestinian Lives Matter, but in commemoration of George Floyd Day. The struggle for Palestinian resistance, the struggle for Black resistance, and Black Lives Matter are connected, they're intertwined. There's so much solidarity. Racism is deeply embedded within the fabric of American society. On this quest to end colonialism, end white supremacy, we have to have these tough conversations. We have to be able to have these conversations with our peers, our colleagues, our students, and professors in the workplaces, in our classrooms. We need to be able to continue to have these difficult conversations about race. Even mentioning the word race or racism, or certain people would just go bonkers over that. Diversity, and inclusion, social inclusion. These are all buzzwords now, and they remain sort of performative. In a sense, this whole plaza, it was a nice gesture to create this Black Lives Matter Plaza. Very nice gesture, a very performative gesture, but it's a very common thing to just sweep these problems under the rug. We have to have the tough conversations about race, openly, boldly, and bravely, and honestly. We have to learn to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. I remember just coming here at sunset, and I'm here now at sunset. It feels really amazing to be here right now, even though I wish that more people would be out. Right now, it's George Floyd Day. The theme is Rise and Remember. And with that, I remember one of my favorite poets and writers, and one of my favorite poems as well, Dr. Maya Angelou and her poem, Still I Rise, and particularly my favorite verse of that poem. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I rise. I rise, I rise, I rise. I have much more to say about this topic, especially about race, its intersection with, a lot of other identity factors like mental health. I'll talk about it in more detail in future videos. Again, I want to emphasize that this is the revolution. Black Lives Matter. Palestinian lives matter. May we continue these difficult conversations. I hope that we continue the fight, we keep the fight going. This is the revolution. Palestinian lives matter, Black Lives Matter. This is the core of the revolution, the political revolution that we need in this country, and to put an end to white supremacy, to colonialism, to imperialism, to make the necessary changes in our society. Thank you for listening, and I hope we stay on the rise. I hope that we stay empowered, stay resilient, and stay connected. Peace, free Palestine, Black Lives Matter. Rest in peace, George Floyd. Rest in peace to all those who have died and suffered under white supremacist systems. This is Dr. Elsa. Peace and solidarity. Free Palestine. Thank you for listening, and have a great night.